live. I think we're live. So, welcome everybody to Tyler's Eclectics channel, but mostly I was just joking, the annual ZMF get together and catch up live stream. What's new?
You've done this in
The annual ZMF get together and catch up.
Oh, I gotta turn off our sound here.
Okay.
So we've done this in January every year?
Well, it's like right around the beginning, like January, February, March timeframe. We've had one. I went back and looked, and there's one. So it's kind of funny.
Yeah, we're probably like, oh, we need to wait till we get all the ZMF November headphones out the door, and
the lull before the next storm.
take a deep breath and talk to you. I know you just went and got a drink. We got Lambrusco because that's Bevin's favorite. And then it's good. I got this at Costco, I think. It's
Oh, that's good. The Glen Brothers. Yeah.
Is it like actually good, or is it like
it's been a while since I've had it, but I think it's a decent one. Costco does good stuff, man. They do, and they get some really good deals on, because right now the whiskey world has gone like crazy. The prices have gone out the window. So yeah, like I think there's this weird like collection. Anyways, yeah, it's bananas. Like stuff that normally $30 is like going for 60, 70, $80, and stuff that's $60 usually is going for like hundreds of dollars. It's bananas. But yeah, I wasn't properly gonna drink, but I figured I grabbed this one of my all-time favorites for like a easy sipper. It's a blend, so it's not like anything super fancy, but it's out of California, and I love the art. Like that art is just so cool. And it's a mix of bourbon and rye, I believe, and it's Redwood Empire's Lost Monarch, and it's just a real easy sipper. Out of Sonoma County, it's only 45%. So, and then I just got.
Have you met the guys who make it?
No, actually, I've chatted with them online, but that's just like on Instagram randomly. It's weird, like a couple of people like that I've done, like random like makers like of stuff where I'll just be chatting with them randomly. It's so fun to like chat. I love that, like being able to chat, like talking with you guys, and just going that route. I also got
I went and bought in a Benny's, and the guy, her brother likes it. The guy was like, that's pure crap, right? And I was like, yeah, I like it though.
I like it. That's all that matters.
Really, they make like cherry flavor and all this bullshit, but can we swear on YouTube? I can't even remember. Anyways, but yeah, this one's been mellowed in coffee beans, it says. So it's I don't know.
Yeah, I think with stuff like that, it's good. It's just that you get the snobbery factor kicks in, and people are like, "Oh, it's flavored whiskey." It's like, who cares? If you like it, you like it. At the end of the day.
Yeah, I drink so little that I bought it 5 years ago or something, and there's still 3/4 full.
So this is a really cool glass. Real quick, I want to show you this. It's a stainless steel tumbler, which just came in, but they make glass too. But check out what it does when you look inside. It has like this really cool, like
a fire.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry.
How's it? So it has like a hue to it. Why does it have that color?
It's mirrored on the inside, and so it's reflecting the whiskey all the way up, and it makes it. And then he has a design on the bottom, so it has like this you can kind of see there. But on the inside, there's like little ridges and stuff. But it is what it is. I think we just got everyone talking about whiskey now.
I see so many familiar names. That's awesome.
Screw headphones.
We're here to talk whiskey and have a good time.
Got exciting headphone stuff to talk about.
Yeah, it's gonna be pretty cool. And I was thinking about that too. Like going back, I think every time we've had some kind of exciting stuff from you guys to chat about, so it's always kind of fun. Let's see. Could turn yourself up a little, Tyler. Oh, I'm quiet. I will do that now.
You want to take some questions? Take some questions off the bat.
In California, when?
Oh yeah.
And Sleepy Brother.
And Sleepy. I love Sleepy. That guy's such a good dude.
Sheldon, Matt. Oh man.
Elnrick says, "You guys are looking good, Tyler. I need to change my hair. Apparently, it's kind of tough, buddy."
Oh,
Bevin's mom.
my
Bevin's
has
mom
entered
is in the chat.
Embarrassing. Hi, Mom.
Bevin's
I love Sweet. Thank you. Y'all, what's up?
All right.
Oh,
I don't
nice.
see any questions yet, so we can just start talking.
Yeah.
You want to talk about the Atrium Closed?
Oh, I mean, I was that's the reveal.
Lead.
Look at those. Those look. Oh, I like that is like the way that the cups are. Are they beveled back or like are they? That's interesting.
So
I
was trying to figure out a way. I mean, we actually designed this cup probably 2 years ago now or something, but I was trying to figure out a way to make it as weird as possible because wood cups have a tendency to look alike each other.
Mm-hmm. I love that.
If you don't make them strange. And so it's got this. I'm trying to get our guys to sand in here kind of deep. Like I call it a duck bill.
Yeah. Almost or like a Peaky Blinders cap almost, right?
Yeah. And then the back is just really like sharply angled. Where I don't think I have a Verite closed here, but this is definitely our most. I probably have one back here. I got
those. Yeah, I like that. I really dig that look actually.
Yeah, it's kind of hard when you're not comparing to something else, but like the Verite closed is very uniform and kind of symmetrical.
Oh.
Wow.
I'll come back, I promise.
There we are.
So yeah, the Verite closed is like very uniform and symmetrical.
Yeah.
And even though like the center face is a little bit off center to everything, this one it's just really asymmetrical everywhere. And then even the sides and how their side is angled. So the goal was to just make sure that without a grill that the two headphones could look as aesthetically different as possible. Because I mean, even when you hold them up side by side, I mean, you still kind of just see two wood headphones.
Yeah.
If you kind of go far back enough.
Yeah, like you get
two wood.
I think I could. Yeah, they do very much look. But then you can still see. You can still see. Wait, right there. No. But I was saying you can still see that kind of cool bevel on it too. Am I saying that right? Am I my word for it? The bevel. Yeah.
And they're a little bit. I mean, you probably can't tell. They're a little bit less.
Princess Leia.
Out a tiny bit. I mean, they're still big headphones, but
I like it. I like them.
So
I like the look
this
of
is EC.
Yeah, it has like a slightly like it has a more thinner front profile a little bit, but then you can see that it kind of kicks out a little bit. That's nice. I like it.
And I know Alanada had tried the Caldera pads on the VC. I think I remember him saying, whereas I don't think they work perfectly on the VC, but of course, if they're enjoyable, use them. But these are tuned to the Caldera pads, so
okay,
a little
bit wider, like more thinner, right? And the opener in the middle.
Yeah, and I mean that the pad with the solid interior. So it's exactly the same pad as works on the Caldera, where it's solid on the inside and then perf on the top and the outside. And so what that does is this is really a hybrid closed pad because of this inner solid wall. Whereas it was something I discovered in making the Caldera was that if you have a completely perforated pad, it kind of does some nasty things with the planar. And if you have a completely solid pad, it does some nasty things too. Whereas controlling the airflow more intermittently, which is can really lead to a really nice result. The other side of that is the VC has a little more porting on the baffle and in the back, but that's the whole porting and damping. That's a whole nother discussion I'll get into later. But
okay,
I guess the short of it is that we're gonna show it at Can Jam and it'll be released in April.
Very cool. That's way dope.
Like you were talking about, it kind of breaks the first tenet of ZMF headphone pad division where perf pads on open headphones, solid pads on closed headphones.
Yeah, I
Crosses the
really
boundary.
consider these like a hybrid solid to perf pad because of
Yeah.
because the part that mates to the ear is solid. It's a little more of a solid pad. Like if you measure a perf pad versus a solid pad, these sit probably 25% closer to the solid pad than they do to the perf pad because of this
That's
inner solidity.
Solid. That's cool.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sleepy. You're ridiculous. Sorry, I saw that he.
You have to ask some questions.
Yeah. But and I've gone full hipster with my mason jar. Yeah. But no, so the atrium. Oh, so I'm rocking my atriums right now, and then, so
Yes.
the what was your I guess what was the idea behind the clothes? Like, what were you going for in difference to these? Were you just purely going for the same sound signature, or were you trying to maybe change it up a little bit, or what were you thinking with the closed versus the open? I guess.
I mean, I wanted to stick to something that was a little more iconish because icon's gone now,
Mm-hmm.
except for all the things I wish I'd done on the icon 7 years ago when I was or 8 years ago, I guess, when I was doing it in 2015, maybe 7.5 years. Yeah, crazy to think about time, but so it's got more of a downslope with the sub bass being a little higher. Whereas, the Verite Closed definitely has that kind of mid bass hump to it.
Mm-hmm.
This is more of a downslope, more of a very evolved icon sound. And then the thing that it retains the most from the open Atrium is that kind of mid-range euphony in a very similar way. And the kind of diffuse field thing that the Atrium does really well, the spatial stuff. It does that in a little more of a immediate way with more intense imaging, whereas it's not quite as deep, whereas the Atrium Open's a little deeper, but doesn't quite have that intense imaging that a closed back has. So they're not the tune the same. I actually, all the talk of like, the last 3-4 years of Harman, or target curve, like everybody's got a target curve now. Oh, this is the Harman target curve. This is this reviewer Harvard curve. This is the this.com target curve, I don't subscribe to the whole target curve thing because I tuned this just like the Atrium Open. Spent a lot of time being like, well, I should at least see what it sounds like, tuned exactly the same. It sounded like total dog poo poo. And it's just the airflow of closed headphones. The airflow of closed headphones is so different than of open headphones that you can't have a target curve that is, and that's the thing. It's not in the world of headphones. There's not just closed and open headphones. Every closed headphone has to have a certain amount open so the driver can flux freely. And every open headphone is not always the same exact amount of open for the driver to work in the best fashion too. So it's just the whole target curve conversation. Just to me, it's like insane because, you can't have a target curve for every different airflow system out there because it's just can't sound the same based on where the air is moving within a chamber.
Yeah, it's like it's all about the cup, and then and also your tuning. And I agree with you 100% on this. I've been a naysayer of the Harman curve for a long time, I guess. But it mostly just because I just don't like I don't want to sound harsh here, but I just don't care. Like if it sounds good, that's what I care about. Like if it makes me enjoy it, I don't what's a squiggle line to me if it's I don't know. I just never I get the science. I think it's important. Yes, I think you need to have it for sure. But at the end of the day, I do think that it's all going to come down to how much you like a thing. It doesn't finding a joy in a thing, right? I think that's more of what I get out of this than anything else. Like that was why I got into headphones too. It was my way of enjoying something and taking a break and escaping. It's escapism, right? It was my form of escapism to some level, right? And I don't care. What's the line going to do for that?
So nobody misquotes me or anything. I am not anti Harman curve. I think the Harman curve is very useful. I use it every time I make a headphone. and I am not anti measurement or find a curve or anything
Mhm.
like that. Measurements are extremely important, and I pay the utmost attention to both when I'm making a headphone. It's just you can't blanketly take the entirety
It's
of the
it's
curve
it's
and
a
apply
part of a
it
thing.
to
I agree. Yeah, it's a portion of what you're getting out of these headphones, or out of, you know, I mean, it's not the whole picture. It's like trying to go. It's like going to an art exhibit and you're like, okay, but take all the color out. Or like take all the, like, I only want to see fine line brushstrokes from this painting or something. You know what I mean? Like, it's, I don't know. It's hard to explain, but it's almost like you're taking a big chunk of what makes it special out of it if you just focus on that one part. Is my opinion of it. Like,
yeah.
so.
You've said before, like it's nice to have a data point that you can describe what you like relative to, and everyone is sort of using that as a common language. Like, I think I've heard people do that. Like,
Yeah.
oh, I like, pretty much the Harmon curve, but the bass with, an elevation here. Or so everyone kind of can use that as a common language.
It's
So
the
I
baseline.
don't know, in that sense, yeah, it's nice to have that as a point of
I
discussion.
And as a generality.
generally, and I think the problem would be for me, anyways. What I always found problematic or troublesome in my viewing of or reading of or seeing certain, like, groups will get together and start chatting, is people will not even hear things, but they'll read the measurements and then judge a thing purely on the measurements and never actually listen to a thing. And that's when I'm like, how? Like, how can you? I don't know. That's where I draw. That's my, like, draw the line in the sand of, like.
Jay Parafino, don't start putting verse and my name together on the Harmon curve, man. That's not. It's not where I'm going. I don't want any wars here.
Yeah.
I'm friend of the Harmon curve.
Yeah.
I do. I'm just talking Alanata here. I do think it is more. I think it's definitely a more open sound than the VC as far as diffuse. It's just the biocellulose driver in general. It's a more diffuse driver, so it has more breadth to it than like a VC. The VC is just in a more immediate kind of intense experience.
It's more visceral. It feels like, or like, I don't even say visceral. That's a little strong word, but like, yeah, it has this immediacy to it. You know.
It's got more of this.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, exactly. Like, I was even doing this, like.
I have to poop.
Dance, interpretive dance to describe.
Yes.
That. That's what we promote.
It's excellent. I love it. Yeah. I am not. I'm the guy on the wall just going.
Step clap or whatever that is.
Yeah. Wow, looks, we got some cool people in here. We got once again Sleepy Jay. It's great hearing you, and I'll be seeing Jay, and I'm going to that meetup in San Jose, so I'm gonna hang out with Jay down there. So that's gonna be kind
of. I'm not gonna be there, but people had Warren and Jude need their Atrium closed so they can
do their
video stuff, and yeah, I'm starting to send them out to reviewers shortly. So,
what's it called? The thing in San Jose, Hi-Fi Con?
The Audio Lodge. I think he's calling Hi-Fi Con. Yeah, it's his first big meetup he's trying to organize. Nicholas Palomares, he's in the thing too. So hey, Nick. And then awesome. Skeeb. Skeeb's in.
Oh, Skeeb. Darren.
Everyone. Ace is in here. Elnick's in here. Elnick's on the mend. Good man. Yeah, very, very cool. So next thing to talk about that we can move away from the squiggle controversy and go into what's actually I wanted to ask. So it's been a while in the sense of COVID and all this other crazy stuff, and you guys had your first show again that you actually went to. SoCal Can Jam was the first show, right, that you guys went to since all this craziness happened. And how was that? How was that experience getting back into the swing of everybody wanting to come up and give you hugs and say hi?
It was awesome. It was so great. Just, I personally, I won't speak for Zach, but the past couple of years of just being, quarantined it was so hard. I think it was so hard for everyone in different ways, but like just being back and seeing people getting to talk about the headphones in real time, it was amazing. Yeah. That's like what you wait for. You're like, oh, what, 2 more months till a can jam, and it was amazing.
I have a quick question for both of you. I just had this discussion with somebody else, and we were talking about introvert versus extrovert, and in the sense of we don't like the term that extroverts like people and introverts hate people. More in the terms of introverts like people just fine and do other things, but they like to have alone time to recharge, and extroverts recharge by being in a group. What do you think your guys' personas are for that? Maybe a mix of both, because that's a thing too. Like,
You can answer for both of us.
I will tell you, I'm completely extroverted. I like being around people, going out. Zach likes people, but he could hunker down with his hobbies and like live in the basement for probably 2 years and be fine.
I did.
And he did. Like
that's my life.
But we don't make the headphones out of the basement anymore. Where you have a workshop, you could go to our YouTube channel and check it out.
No, but
that we've been for years.
I think like, a lot of hobbyists or people who are into headphones like that, that time to be with themselves, with their music, kind of undisturbed. Headphones tend to be like a don't talk to me symbol to the world sometimes. So
agreed. Every time I've gone to any of these like meetups or shows, people are like, "Oh, what is your favorite part about it? Or what's the thing you do the most?" I'm like, "Well, I definitely don't listen to gear. It's probably like 95% chatting with other people and like that pretty much chatting with people, and then maybe 5% of actually like listening to stuff or what have you. Like it's crazy how much that works. But I think for me as well, like I think I'm a mix of introvert extrovert to some of. I had this discussion like because I find I'm like Zach to some level where like I find my like recharge when I'm perfectly happy just going on a walk by myself with my camera, taking pictures and just being by myself, or even just sitting in my room and like editing or being by myself. But then there's times like there's certain people or groups of people that I get energy from. You know what I mean? Like there's that extrovert part where you go and there's certain friends or there's certain groups you can get into and just be like, oh yeah, I'm feeling energized. I'm feeling I'm feeling good. Like I'm ready to go tackle the world. So, but yeah, I think that's a fun one. And then someone had a really good question for both, and I've asked this before, but over the past 2 years, let's say, so of being kind of stuck in our own little worlds, what are some new hobbies that you both kind of have found recently, or like what's some new things that you guys are way into that no one really?
Kombucha. Well, there is.
We were into kombucha. Zach is still very into kombucha.
I was making it for a while, but then it went all south. Like my heating pad got unplugged and
in our home.
It didn't go.
It's very sticky, if anyone's wondering.
Yeah, so I don't make it anymore, but I like kombucha. My hobbies are guitars, banjos, NBA basketball, MLB baseball, sports. Those two sports. Headphones, audio, and I play rec baseball during the summers. I played in college, and so I still do that to entertain myself. I ride my bike to work, and I just like running ZMF. I just like our employees. I like making them happy. And do I have any other hobbies? Is that it?
We watch a lot of movies.
I like episodic TV. Just finished Better Call Saul.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Skiing.
You have any hobbies?
Well,
where she's trying to get into skiing. Yeah.
It's really fun. It's hard.
I grew up skiing and snowboarding, so.
Oh, nice. And then I don't know if my mom's still in the chat, but growing up, she got me into thrift shopping, and I love going to find the vintage stuff, like these glasses.
Oh yeah, my wife does not like my collection of random cool glassware.
You just need like a giant credenza. I got like a credenza where I can stick them all in, and then it takes care of it. So that's fun.
No, I love vintage glassware too. I think that's such a cool they, like something that's even like going back and well tie it back to audio a little bit. Like the vintage stuff is so cool. Like the stuff from like the 70s, even the 80s, like all the cool, like if you look at the audio side, like the receivers, that kind of stuff, they have all the knobs and dials, and it's just really, and they have the really cool colors and stuff. But even going into like glassware, like the glass you have, like that's cool. Like it feels good in the hand. It doesn't, you know what I mean? It's not, it's like crafted well, and I don't know. I love that stuff, like the craft, and you get behind the craft of things. You know, I always think that's fun.
I want to speak to this one Ludi Colos comment because I've heard this come up for years, and it's he's saying, how do you feel about the recent discussion that ZMF headphones are not competitive on sound alone, but only are about the entire package? And it's this whole, which I find ridiculous conversation of, hey, ZMFs, if they didn't look the way they do, they'd cost much less, or like the sound, is doesn't match the price or something like that. And there's been this like poll in the hobby, and I see it mostly on Reddit, but I've seen it other places too, where people are like, on technicalities alone, like I could get an HD 800 and I'd have the same technicalities out of the ZMF that, and my, I'm sure there's little finite aspects. Say there's like 20 aspects of a headphone that make a sound, clarity, sound stage, left to right imaging, front to back imaging, transient response, all these things that we put into what make a headphone. And for whatever reason, headphone enthusiasts and what they like to talk about online has become technicalities, as if that's the only aspect.
It drives me insane.
And I spent so much time, I have so much time with this shithead, just listening, measuring everything. And, I have over $60,000 worth of measurement equipment, and I measure every tiny little thing. And you can measure square waves, you can measure impulse response. I've measured all the other companies' headphones, and there's some things you can't measure exactly some of the things that you get from listening to an experience with a headphone. And where I end up with headphones is typically a place that's not pushing the tuning the most towards technicalities, or pushing the tuning towards the most towards soundstage or other things where there's one headphone that might do it the best. I always want to make a headphone that does the most things that you can live with, that has the most complete package of all the things that make a headphone as it can. And so when I see these discussions where people are like, well, but this one headphone does this one thing better, I'm just like, are we listening to sweeps, or are we actually discovering music? And I'll stop.
No, I agree with you. I think that's one of my. It's such a weird thing too, right? Because people get so heated about it, and get so like passionate about it. Let's just say that. We'll say passionate. Passionate's a good word, right? And so, to me, it seems like, how can you, like, someone made a good comment to me a while back about something similar to this. And how can you not take in aesthetics? How can you not take in comfort? Because those are huge portions of what you're literally grabbing a thing and going, oh, like if I had a thing that looked like a pile of dog poop but felt good on the hand versus something that looked, you know what I mean? You're gonna reach for the thing that looks good. Like that's human nature, right? So there's that. You have to account for that. You have to account for comfort. You have to account for all these other things. So when people say that, I call malarkey a little bit, because it's like, sure, maybe they might have a specific thing that does well, but I'll tell you right now, for me having joy, me enjoying a thing, it's not this one part of it. Like, you know what I mean? I could tell you how many times I've listened to my HT800s in the past year, and it's probably maybe half a dozen times. Like, and these live on my head. Like I mean, just to show you how much, if I swap my different ZMFs, I mean, these are all within hand reach, for me to swap out any given time to listen to the Verites. I have the Kildare here. Thank you very much for letting me borrow it for as long as you have. And then I have my VCs back here, and my Aeolus as well is right sitting over there by my other computer editing station. But like, it's, I don't know, like I don't know. Maybe that's just me, but I think that's such a weird thing that people can just like laser focus on what does this better, and it's like, So does it do these other things better? Does it feel good? Does it make you happy? Like, I don't know.
And I will say, I'm not making this argument for ZMF. Like, this is not about saying, hey, my headphones are better. When I was making the Caldera, I bought an LCD5. I bought the Susvara. I bought the Mezzi Elite. I got some vintage headphones from Heliosphon. I mean, and the beauty of all these headphones is they all do things that are awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And like, you know, if I go online, I see the Mezzi, oh, it doesn't meet the Harman curve. It's a little dark in this. The Mezzi Elite is awesome. It is an amazing headphone. That is a modern feat of engineering and sound that Antonio's made.
Mm-hmm.
And then you go to the LCD5 and it's just a completely different experience, except for it's just as good in all these other ways. And it's just, if you start to compare these headphones in singular fashions of like, oh, this one does this better. I mean, for me, as like someone who loves all these headphones, I'm just like kind of like missing the point of what these people who have created these headphones are doing, because they're all have such merit on such a high level. You can't really even say one is better than the other, because they all, I mean, the LCD5 versus so far, like, you might prefer one more than the other, but they're all just incredible feats of modern acoustics.
And I agree. That's what someone asked me the other day, like, well, can't you just say which one's better? And I'm like, no, I can't, because they're just varying levels of the same, like, or if not similar quality. Like, they're like, how do you say this is better when it's just a different, you know what I mean? Like, it's not, you can't. It's like saying like one artist to another, right? Like, yeah, like it's like comparing. That's actually a good way of saying it. Like a musician's band, or like a band's, right? That's like comparing different bands and be like, oh, well, they're better than that one, but one's a hip hop and one's a country. It's like, I don't like. No, they could be equally talented. They're just performing different music. Like, I don't know. Like, to me, it's just
the beauty of it. Like, I want to put on my Apple Music account or Spotify account and listen to the playlist and get all the different stuff. You know, that's why I own. Well, I own 75 headphones. But I mean, you never know what mood you're going to be in.
Yeah.
You know. And I get they're all expensive and you can't own them all, and
100%.
Sometimes you want to qualify to yourself why you own the one you own at a certain time. But at the end of the day, that's just the beauty. I mean, it goes into the tube amp thing too. Of course, tube amps don't measure as well as a topping A90 or whatever, but it's like that's the point. Yeah.
Well, so I even had a hot point. Someone was like, and I'm wearing my I try to wear my biases and my opinions on my sleeve. Like, right, like I don't. That's just because me. Like, I'm not anybody else. I'm me, and these are my opinions. That's how I try to voice these things. And honestly, I found these, and I said it in the video I did with these, was that I way prefer these to the Susvara as a preference. And I think they're on par, and personally think they're better than the Susvara, just for my preferences. Like, because I love that they aren't like. I always found that the Hyphamans have that almost unnaturally sharp image separation, and it always threw me off. And whereas, I don't know if that was for me. Like, I don't know why. For me, I don't like it. But this one sounds cohesive. It sounds kind of like we were talking about before. I feel like I could listen to more genres with it, if that makes sense. And to me, that's matters.
But there's no way you can say the Caldera's better than the Susvara. Period. Like, you just
I
can't
got so
say
much heat for that. Yeah, I got so much heat for that.
I don't know. I mean, I forget what you said in your video, but
I'd say it spanks the hell out of the Susvara, I think, or something like that.
Because it's so subjective. I mean, Susvara is such a great headphone. I'm pretty sure Fang's not watching this, but Fang, I'm waiting for that Susvara too, man. I got the wallet ready. I'm ready.
$12,000. Let's go.
Well, don't do that. Yeah, Fang, never mind. Never mind.
It reminds me of Jeff Alter on Headfi wrote a review where he said that he felt like he'd found his headphone home with a certain headphone of ours that he was listening to. And I think that you sort of vibe with a company's house sound, and and that ends up working for you, and that
Mm-hmm.
the spectrum of headphones within that sort of speak to you in some way. Maybe not. Maybe you bounce around and you've got like, I use this one for this genre, this
Mm-hmm.
one for another genre, or a use case thing. But I think ZMF has a certain like headphone home for some people, like maybe you, Tyler.
No.
But,
No,
but yeah, people who have similar preferences to you
Mhm.
say like, oh, based on Tyler's listening notes, like I might enjoy this, or I'm totally opposite side of the spectrum from Tyler. I will probably not like that at all.
And I think that's important. Like, I think that's key. Like, by me giving you fully my preference, that's how I view that, right? You can now, that I am biased towards this. Like, this is my signature that I love. And whether you like it or not, or can align with that, now you can have at least some kind of thing. Like, I don't know, like, because I love the ZMF house sound. Ever since it was, what did I listen to? I listened to the Verite Open at Ian's house. And I was just like, and at that point in time in my audio journey, like I was still in that range of like, I can't spend more than 1,000. That's 1,000. Whoa, that's a lot of money for it. But then I heard the Verite Open, and I was like, and now I have to have it. I think I went and I bought the Aeolus first just to test the waters. And it was the Aeolus I bought first, and then, but I couldn't get the Verite Open out of my head. Like, I just couldn't, you know what I mean? Like, it was one of those things where it's like, it was always just like right there. So I just went and got the Verite Open.
I made a video lately on why the Verite Open is so great, because I actually use the Verite Open when I'm not tuning a new headphone more than any of our stuff. And our famous reviewer said wonky mids, and all of a sudden everyone's like, "Oh, Verite Open." And the crazy part of that story is that the Verite Closed is tuned the same if you have the same similar pads on it. So there's no way one can be tuned better than the other. But I digress. Let's move on to the next. I've been working on this.
Spicy night.
Yeah, I know, right?
Maybe it's the wine. My face is certainly showing.
Oh, feels so good.
What's the latest? We got the FOSS. Oh, there we go. This is the view. We need to have some cinematics here. We need to. What? I want to get the. I should do that next to one of these things. Is get the GoPro or get the camera on the a harness thing where it's like that, where it's like the famous. They made it famous in the heroin movie that was like really gnarly.
Jared Leto.
Yeah, that one. And then where they're running around and it has the camera and it's so it like moves with you. It's like the
Yeah, it's. Are you talking about
Requiem for a Dream?
Yeah,
a real downer?
everyone.
That's a real downer. Yeah, it's a gnarly movie.
That's depressing.
And now we're in a bad place.
So I was going to talk about the T50 mod I've been going to reintroduce sometime this year. It's really quite almost done. The only thing I'm working on is this.
That's kid.
Not a
new TIFF that we're not making it for you. We're going to sell
super
you.
Psyched for this, by the way.
Sell you the cups. But I'm just working on the last little fit thing to make sure the cups pivot correctly, because that's key.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we're gonna sell this as a kit this year and have some written instructions. We're not going to be available to go through. I don't know what the bottlehead guys do. I'll have to look at that. But we'll give you the cups. We'll give you some parts. We'll give you
instructions.
I got a build video that I'm gonna show everyone how it's built. I'll probably throw some tuning tips on there at some point.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, this is this is what the cup's going to look like. It's going to have these 1/8 inch connectors. You'll get all the parts. So we're hoping to do, and a good way to do a project for a not too bad price and all that stuff.
Which always, honestly,
Jay's been making some cool.
Oh yeah.
Just shout out to Jay's Cables.
Shout out,
I know
Jay.
he's going to do a great
Jay's
job
awesome.
on it.
Jay's awesome. Yeah.
Cables are hot.
Yeah, I know he was super
Jay.
psyched for this. So yeah. I have to have one question regarding this kit. Will you come out with a special limited run of Purple Burst cups? Taking an OG classic
Well, yeah,
I'm
we're probably
selfishly
gonna
asking this, by the way.
we can do a finish them for you or not finish them for you, for people who want to do the finished work themselves or not, as far as how the wood comes.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't thought about the purple burst. It's a pretty intensive process, so I don't know. If enough people ask for it, I'll do anything, I guess. But
wasn't that one of your first like big runs? Was the purple burst? Like I remember that was one of the first things I saw.
I think early on, we did do like a
mass drop.
Purple burst. Yeah, I think we did a mass drop version.
Mass drop.
Back when it was mass drop and not drop.
Drop it like it's hot.
Right.
Is that what they say over there?
No, I don't know. It's a song. What wood is that? Eleonoda ask.
This is Bakote, which actually is going to be. I should have brought one. Actually, I don't know why I didn't bring one. Now I'm bummed. But is going to be Bakote and Red Heart are the next two dual limited woods for the Caldera Atrium limited edition that'll be coming out February 3rd. So, people really loved the Red Heart that we had over ZMF November, and I was able to procure some of those. And then we had some Bakote sitting around. It's just been sitting for years. Looks like this and is very beautiful. So.
Tiger stripes.
Yeah, it's kind of like what Zebra Wood wishes it could be. No offense to Zebra Wood. Zebra Wood is very nice.
Yes,
but woods are nice. This is cool too.
Very, very cool. I dig it. So these are the two new upcoming fun project. Well, fun project and really cool.
I have one more project to show you.
Tyler, you are getting like all the things.
Oh my
god, this is
hot. It's coming in hot. Let's. I take so much, Zach.
I really don't have much of a life aside from the headphone stuff. So during the pandemic, I was just I'm always just kind of at the shop tinkering around. But
my dog wants to get on screen.
We have a dog.
Oh, the puppies. Let me love you.
We made a cameo in one of Zach's tutorial videos, barking up a storm. So.
Yeah, I don't know how I could get a camera on her a little better. Maybe we'll.
There she is.
Oh,
cuties.
I don't know if are them still in there. Her name is Evie.
Whoa. It's my daughter's. She really likes the Evie now.
Oh yeah.
We nicknamed her Evie Jesus because of how many times she does bad things, and Bevin says Evie Jesus. So she's Evie Jesus now, and she's actually a cult leader. So if you want to join the cult,
fair. Okay, I'll send my admission card in.
So this is a collaboration with JDS. This is a prototype. I told Bevin I was going to show this tonight, but then she said, people are going to want a 3D printed version. I was
going to say they're going to want these colors now. You have just.
I was like, well, if people really want a 3D printed version, I guess we could do it. For sure. We have the 3D printers to do it, but this is gonna be a wood panel and metal panel and have a coffee gold knob. But this is kind of the solid state amp that I've always wanted, and we sell the Cayenne amps and actually think that's an amazing amp too. But this in a somewhat similar fashion. We'll have a little more of the ZMF aesthetic with the wood, and then we'll have a impedance switch, gain switch, so you can go between a planar and a dynamic headphone with ease on a solid state headphone that's tuned for ZMFs and everything. So that's always the thing people are asking is why can I not do I need tubes for ZMFs? And I'm like, no, you don't need tubes, but there's just not that many solid state amps on the market that have the high impedance option. So we teamed up with JDS. They're designed the amp. It's going to be like 4 watts per channel and it's fully balanced. Cool. And then a 4.4 and XLR balanced out. So it's kind of a fun project. I'm shooting for around $1,000 for the price, but I don't know where it's gonna. I don't even know how much it costs for the final part.
Done the bomb, the Build of
I mean, I've,
materials.
I've done the R&D bomb, but when you're buying 10 boards to test them, the price is a little different than when you're buying 200. So
Yeah.
hopefully it comes down a bit when I buy more parts.
If anybody has that green blue mechanical keyboard,
Oh yeah.
nice. I'm really about this
I like it.
colorway.
Yeah, that is pretty cool. I do like it.
Yeah, the knob is going to be metal and heavy, and we're thinking about trying to do the face out of like a stabilized wood. So trying to get some choices for aesthetics. I don't know how crazy we can go, but since we're controlling the full build, with JDS Labs, we should be able to do some pretty cool looking stuff. Yeah.
Tricked out.
How are those guys, JDS? I haven't talked to Jude, and God, I can't remember last time I talked to Jude.
Yeah, I mean they machine all our parts, and I'm gonna head down there again soon. Sometimes I go down there and just look at all the logs of wood that I've bought. They're about a 2-3 hour drive from us, and they house all our wood and all our CNC machines and stuff. And we actually have a video coming out on our YouTube channel in the next few weeks about how we do our machining process.
That's gonna be cool.
And so they control all that, and I talk to those guys probably every other day or something because they work with us so much.
Mm-hmm.
So I think everything's going well with them. John's got the Element Plus 3 Plus and some cool new products. He's always kind of pushing the boundary of that like good measuring, inexpensive solid state. I don't think I'll ever talk him into a tube amp as much as I try. I don't think that's his thing, but I bet if he did one, it'd be the best goddamn tube amp that's ever been made.
I've been pining over getting an Element again. I don't need one, right? But I just love the aesthetic, and I have such fond memories of my Element. So I actually gave my Element to a buddy to start him on the audiophile journey as like a hey, here's a cool product. And I gave him headphones and it was like, I'm kind of like, I miss that thing, man. That thing was such a cool little, like that, to the knob, like everything about it was just so cool,
And you can get anything you want printed for 3D etched, lasered in for free. You get any,
I still have my JDS, the DAC. I have the LDAC still, and I have it's Calvin and Hobbes looking at the stars. I'm printed on it.
Calvin and Hobbes.
Yeah, Calvin Hobbes is the best.
Here she is.
It's fun to join.
She wants to cuddle. I can tell. Let me rest my head in your shoulder.
It's such a lovely dog. That's all she wants. Be held all day long.
That's awesome.
Our other dog passed recently, but
I'm sorry.
I was holding her in a picture that got into stereophile. So she's kind of an audiophile dog. She was an audiophile dog, and
that's awesome.
Yeah, no, we don't have just dogs.
Jay, if you ever go to his Instagram, he has his dog, Flossie Bossy. And so she listens to his stereo and listens to they listen to records together, and she's very particular about what music she listens to. That's pretty funny.
Do a little sing along.
Yeah, chilling out with them. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, and Elric asks, will the VU meter make it into the final amp?
Oh yes, VU meter is a real thing. Yeah, and it'll show. This one actually is live and working, and we tried to design it after very retro car dashboard that we found. So, unfortunately, not as many dials and knobs. I was shooting for more LED lights and such, but it lights up and it goes with the volume, and you can volume match with it and stuff. So
very, very cool.
Aesthetic is very sort of like with an homage to vintage retro.
Yeah.
And
the Deckware amp has 2 VU meters too, and that's in its final stages. So it's all all the amp stuff is kind of coming around, so to speak.
Dave was singing nothing but praise for the Deckware. So when he came back from hanging out with you guys the other day.
Oh yeah, it's really nice. It needs a few little tweaks, but it's got that kind of classic OTL sound and a lot of, bells and whistles to it that kind of make it unique in that kind of space. But yeah, I mean, I hope to have that out next month, but we'll, a few more little tweaks and hopefully it will be there.
Very cool.
And we're gonna have units in stock. It's not gonna be like a year wait or anything like that, which is nice because I know Deckware. I looked at their wait list the other day because he keeps it on his forum, and I think people who ordered in like June of 2021 are like, or maybe even 2020. It's like an insane list, and I was like, man, I thought I felt bad for making people wait for ZMFs. I can't even.
Oh man, I have a couple buddies have built amps, waiting for tube amps, and there's like year and a half, 2 years, and they're like, "Where's my amp?"
Makes us look like saints.
We're speedy.
We're so fast. We are. I mean, we are actually making stock, right? So stock headphones will in the near future will be like a 1 to 2 week wait. So.
Oh yeah,
I know that
Donald North has a crazy backlist. His is a year, I think, right now, right? Just over a year wait list. If you buy one now, you have to wait a year.
Got my number 007 right here.
He was ready. He was ready for it.
Gratis, baby. Oh, it's heavy.
Oh yeah.
07.
If only he made it in purple. No.
Everybody needs some gear.
Well,
Send it off to you. Just give me your address.
Got my Glen 300B in the back.
The Glen. That thing is such a. That thing sounds so. Well, I haven't heard that one, but I've heard some of his. Glen makes such good stuff. And then, what's the other amp? He just put it out. Why am I blanking? He paired it with your Atrium specifically. Why am I blanking on his name? He's in our. He makes the tube amps.
Tube amps.
Tube amps, yeah. Wow.
Lord Gwen.
Yeah. Lord.
Yeah.
Lord Gwen.
Yeah. We're tentatively want to work with him one day, but he's a medical professional, and I talk to him all the time. He's one of my audio friends, and his talent in amp building. I don't know how he.
Yeah, I heard him at ZM Festivus.
Genius, really, he's just a genius. Honestly, when it comes down to it, like he just sees things in circuits in a way that are atypical, and it.
Mind.
Yeah, and I don't know obviously as much as about him as amp building, but as far as unique sound, I've never heard amp sound more unique in a good way than his. I know. EL is like, where can we get this OTL made? And I'm like, I know. I feel the same way.
Agreed. Like, yeah, cause I still have fond memories of listening to his amp from ZM Festivus. Like I wouldn't,
he was just starting to do his deal.
Yeah,
and he's DAX too, apparently.
Oh yeah, I did see that. Yeah, bananas. Yeah, I would. Yeah, man. And then I think he just did a thing where he basically put out the build of materials and like how to build one recently. I think on Headfire or something.
Yeah, he has an amp called the Aegis.
Yes, that one. Yep.
Like a KT88 EL34 5U4G type build. I forget what the input tube is. But yeah, he put out he's working on that, and I think we're gonna have it at Can Jam again. But that's a really cool design.
Someone asked 300B with the Atriums. What are your thoughts? Go ahead.
Have you heard any? I think you heard the Nautilus or Nautilus 300B version.
Yep. It's the what do you call it? The Red October.
Red October, right?
And so for me, the way, and I think 300Bs are a love it or hate. I think most people love them, right? But I think there's a lot of give and take with the 300Bs, and this is just my take on it. I think they're expensive. And so and then not just the amps, but the tubes themselves are very, very expensive. So you have to take that into account. And then the third thing is it just makes everything wider. Like everything just becomes like this ethereal wideness and like depth, and like everything just gets this crazy stage to it. And so, for instance, like the Dan Clark What was the Stealth? Or no, what's the most recent one that he has? I think it was the Stealth. Or no, it was the
Expanse.
Expanse. Thank you, the Expanse. And so I didn't necessarily like the Expanse music, like for like my preferences on like most solid states and some other tube amps, but I put it on the Red October, and I was like I don't know, like it turned into this other headphone that I was just like, oh wow, I actually fit my. It was weird how it turned a headphone that I just didn't necessarily like and made me like it. And it's the same with the LCD5. The LCD5 was the same way for me. Like I think the LCD5 and the Expanse are both technically very fantastic headphones. They just don't fit my preferences, but I put them on a 300B and I was just like, oh, it's almost like a magic box that makes headphones fit my preference to some level. I don't know.
Yeah, I'll have to try the LCD5 I have with the 300 because I actually have three. I have the Glen, which I have the Envy, which I have on loan,
Mm-hmm.
from Felix, and then I also have the Cayenne 300Bs that we sell.
Those are fantastic.
They're the one thing that I thought, oh, maybe the 300B sound will be imparted in a similar way, and they all sound completely different, which was surprising to me. And the Felix amp
There's
is
differences
just
in amps and headphones. No, Zach, stop.
yeah, I know.
Oh, real spicy over here tonight.
The Felix 300B amp with the Atrium Closed. I mean, it's probably because I'm most excited about this because it's new.
Mm-hmm.
But the Felix 300B, I just got some Western Electric tubes too, which I bought, which are pricey.
Well, those are real pricey. They sound really good, really good.
Found an eBay deal that led me get like 4 for $2,000, which it's still in my head. I'm like, what did I do? But
it's like buying really expensive whiskey, right? That's a finite thing that eventually I spend like $1,000 on this bottle and I'm already drinking it. And it's like,
like how much money is that? Yeah, the Felix Envy and the Cayenne, like the Envy has kind of a faster transient, a more spacious like sound with that very low end firmness, whereas the Cayenne is kind of a little smoother throughout and has a thickness that it kind of imparts, but still that 300B spatial thing that you talked about. I think the Cayenne's more what people would expect from a 300B, where the Felix is more kind of a quasi like chameleon type sound, just because it has that faster transient kind of sound you almost might expect from like a KT88 or like even EL84 type amp. But when a 300B is done right, it has a sound that nothing else sounds like, but it's something I don't always know if people are going to love or not, because it has a very specific sound.
And I think that's the trick, right? And I think that's the trick with any of these things at the end of the day, right? Is I'm not you, you're not me, I'm not Beth. And we're not, and it's finding that your own niche, your own happy spot or happy balance between all these different items as they pair together for your specific use case. And that's what I always found was so fascinating, is you get I'm gonna get spicy again, sorry, but like the group think, right? Where like then all of a sudden everyone's like, well, that can't be good because X, Y, and Z said it wasn't good, and it's like, did you try it? Did you put it on your head and listen for a couple days? Like I don't know, but sorry, I went down a different path. But yeah, I agree with you. I think that the some people with like the 300B, like 300B compared to a KT88 or like what's the other one you can put on some of those? What's it, like just the standard ones, even going down like the Felix, some of the Felixes, or like the even like a bottlehead crack or the experimental or something like that, like the different tubes and different layouts of the way that the tube amps are built, or even the Decawares. Like it's all about finding that balance between the different parts, like the DAC to the headphone to your own personal listening level. I don't know, what's your thoughts on regarding that? Like, I guess synergy would be the thing that you're looking for.
I mean, based on the sheer amount of gear alone that my husband owns, I can confirm that he believes in that. I think,
Yeah, we're actually like I think we were talking about this. Yeah, we're gonna set the Can Jam room in New York. We actually bought 2 rooms for Can Jam New York because in LA, it was so busy and like people like couldn't hear, and then they were getting mad and I get it. Like if you're trying to go to a show to hear headphones, you can't hear any other time. It's annoying.
Yeah.
but we're probably going to set the room up in a way that's more geared towards like, do you want to like
Have
come
like
in
a
the door,
social room and then a listening room.
but also like come and find your own synergy. Like, here's all the OTL amps, here's all the transformer based tube amps, here's all the solid state amps. Like, grab your headphone near the door that you're like interested in for the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Go find a synergy you're looking for in amps and see how it sounds in each kind of section of amps. Because I mean, I realize when I'm choosing out amps to listen to, you know, it's based on that synergy, and we want people at Can Jam to try to have that same experience where they can grab the headphone they're interested in and have delineated tables where there's different synergies to play with.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think that's one of the tough things about shows too, is you go and these like synergies are pre-chosen for you that aren't always defined, and then you come back and you're like, well, I heard this, but it's hard to define it, you know, unless it's laid out for you. And that's like impossible when it's all these different vendors being like, my thing's the best, it's a solid state amp with this, or my thing's the best, it's an OTL amp, you know.
Yeah.
There's so much value in Can Jam for that. Just, you know, to be able, to your point, Tyler, is to put something on your head and actually listen to it. Because, I mean, I use reviews all the time online to help inform what I'm going to get, you know, but at the end of the day, you know, being able to go and sample things is really nice.
Agreed. Yeah. Be able to touch it, feel it, have it actually be interact with it, rather than it being this non-existent thing that you're like, oh, that person, this person. I mean, because even at the end of the day, like I could say I love this thing, right? And people will generally align with me, and then all of a sudden they get it, and they're like, dude, that was hot doo-doo. Like, why would you recommend that? You know, and you're like, oh, well, I'm sorry it didn't work for you. Like,
that's a lot of pressure.
But I was gonna say, Elmric mentioned the crescent strap.
Oh.
Love, and I'm gonna actually get a lot of flack for this right now because what I have the crescent strap on, but
yeah, I use the
so
had to just 700s,
and it's so comfortable. And these are like modded. I have like the different mods on there, and then I have different pads and stuff. But I use these for watching movies, TV shows, and gaming. So fantastic. And then I listen to audio with them too. Like that's another one that I was always weirded out by why people dislike these so much. You know, like there's like this visceral dislike for these, and I think they're great for, you know, especially gaming. But I don't know. Anyways, that's where I have my.
You gotta mod them, bro. Mods, bro.
Yeah,
mods, bro.
Mods. Do you even mod, bro? Do you even
mod? So it just asked about the cheaper closed back. It is so close. I have I have thousands of drivers for it just sitting. I have the chassis that we designed for it just about done. We're making prototypes right now. My only worry is like, you know, we're moving into a larger space, and we're going to try to delineate like a custom shop, non-custom shop type thing. But I just want to make sure that we can, you know, make them in the manner that's going to allow us to price them where it need to be priced, which is, you know, around $1,000, and produce them fast enough so people I don't want to make a headphone that's that price that people have to wait for. You know, I want to stock it, ship it. It'll be the Amazon of ZMF.
No.
Prime shipping, Prime 10-day shipping. ZMF Prime 10 to 12-day shipping. What do you think? Can the shipping department handle that?
I don't think we can handle that.
10 to 30.
Yeah.
No more than 45.
No more than 40. Yeah, just keep
it's incredible. The headphone is pretty much done. It's finishing the manufacturing part, because it's just on a product at that price level. You can't be making the entire no, we make the entire chassis in house. We hand stamp the leather, you know, we do all this stuff in house. And, you know, like for this project, I, you know, found an OEM that could make a chassis that was similar to ours and still work and all that stuff, so that we could figure out how to, you know, get them
rolling through and have like an on stock and like just like It's the taste of ZMF. It's the initial taste.
Make it with no plastic parts, wood, metal. Like I just like if it's gonna be a ZMF, it has to be wood, metal, and leather, you know, or suede and all that stuff. So yeah, just doing it that right way has taken a lot of time. It's actually funny. My engineer, we were looking at it and making some final tweaks to like the baffle design the other day, and it's the name of the project is ZMF Closed 19, as in 2019. So it's just been working on it.
I think we did a video back then, and was it 2019? We did a video live stream about that.
I'm sure. Yeah. I'm sure we've been talking about it for a while.
Yeah. It's crazy.
I think this is the. I know every year I say I think this is the year that we can do it. I have like 5,000 drivers sitting around waiting to be used in it. So if I don't do it, I've made some very bad financial decisions.
Well, I mean, a lot of what goes into, coming out with a headphone, like, yes, you have to come out with the enclosures and you have to tune it, and, it has to sound and look good. That's like one side of things, but you also have to have like the staffing to accommodate it. You have customer service that can help people quickly enough. Do you have shippers who
shipping, packaging,
people who can make this? So it's, there's a lot of like logistics side to everything. And, for us, we have awesome people who work at ZMF and trying to grow with awesome, people that you can depend on and trust. And so we've just tried to not get too big for our britches and jump into something irresponsibly, and come up short. So
yeah,
we want to make sure the ducks are in a row.
Smart. I can get behind that. That's definitely the way to go. It's better to wait patiently and get something that you agree with, and that you can feel prideful and happy with sending out to people, rather than trying to rush something and just because people are hounding you or whatever. Like, I think that's when things can go bad. But
oh yeah, like logistics situations can be really bad, a la Southwest Airlines this holiday season or something. Like, they're like I love them.
I always say that we're the Southwest of headphones, but I'm gonna.
Sometimes you can run into these like logistical issues that are really
unforeseen.
Yeah. So, trying to lay it out.
Fair. Yeah. Oh, so the other thing people keep asking about is it seems like everyone wants to know what the next thing is. Is it going to be an E-stat, a ribbon, or an AMT? Is that even on your radar? Like, is that even, I mean, because, I saw the look. I saw some.
I've been talking with the Nectar Sound guy and like modding around with some stuff with his E-stat driver. So I don't know if anything's ever gonna come of it, but I'm friends with Sajeev over at Nectar Sound.
Yeah.
Throwing around the idea, and right now it's kind of just a hobby thing between the two of us. Who knows if it'll ever become something, but right now I used his drivers to put together like a really like weird prototype, and it's he's done a much better job at making E-stats than I have modding his E-stats or anything like that. So as of now, I would say don't expect any E-stat stuff from us. For sure, but the next thing after Atrium Closed is definitely going to be the other two closed headphones, which are the Caldera Closed and the portable 19 or whatever we want to call it. So yeah, I mean,
you should just call it the 19 and just experiment 19 and go with it.
I mean, this E-stats, it's kind of like noise canceling headphones. It's one of those things where I'm like, I could dally in it, but like there's so many, like Stax does such a good job of making E-stats, and like, just like Sony and Bose do such a good job of making noise canceling. It's such a kind of
they
specific
put the effort
sound.
and time.
Yeah, and it's we could, who knows, someday we may have something in those areas, but it's not something on my immediate radar where I'm like, hey, I'm ready to go compete with Stax and convince people that we're doing something that they've been doing for 40 years or 50 years or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And we're gonna go around the Bose and Sony patents for noise canceling, and all of a sudden, it's an area that I have no at least in a
gauntlet
business sense going and being like, yeah, that's something worth trying.
Well, other than that, I mean, sawdust and e-stats don't really mix. Like keeping a clean room around a wood shop, I don't know.
Touche.
You can come up with like HQ part 2 somewhere far
I
away.
can see you guys getting into like the suits with a vacuum like chamber you had to go in and go to the room to do the e-stat work. Actually, I had a thought. I was thinking while you were talking about like doing all these prototypes and this all stuff. Do you actually keep all your old prototypes?
Yeah,
Oh, go in the trove.
So when
Well, he disappears.
so like when he gets back, I think it'd be really cool. Like, how cool would that be at like one of these like can jams? Is to like have like this road to Caldera, a road to, and you could see the different iterations and like listen to them and just see how they progressed, kind of thing. And then the final, I don't know, I think that'd be like a cool. In my head, I was thinking like a ZMF museum exhibit thing where it's like like the different like prototypes and how it's like how you could like the road to the sound, the final sound, right? Like you could start here and it could be like the like ZMF museum or the exhibit where it's like the road to the final product of like I don't know, that'd be such a cool experience to kind of hear, see and hear, to be honest, right? Like I don't know, look at that.
Yeah, I think so. I have tried to keep all of Zach's little experiments and anything he's put together. I've tried to catalog it because that is my hope that someday when we get into a bigger spot to have like a cool room that shows a progression. Yeah,
that's so cool.
I think especially with the way that we became a company, starting in a basement or actually we started in our apartment, our walk-up apartment in Ukrainian Village. Our progression was very natural. It wasn't like all of a sudden you had like investor money and you had these like crazy engineers and you could just tell them what you want and they did it. Like we incrementally every step of the way like came up with
the next
where we are
thing,
today, so.
Which is amazing. That's the other thing I love about like ZMF and you too, and like what you guys like, because it's real. I don't know how to explain that. You know what I mean? Like it's just the sound comes through. Like it's like I don't know. Maybe it's just my love of that kind of like the aesthetic and like the idea that it's not this big corporate thing and that it's not this there's it's passion and it's in and you. I'd like to think that I get the passion behind the sound, right? Like you get, you know what I mean? Like I get it because it sounds fantastic to me. It fits my preferences. But I think that's part of that is because you guys have passion for it. And it shows by the dedication and time you spend building and getting it to where you want the tuning, the way it looks. And like, you know what I mean? Like this is art and it's dedication. I don't know. Like to me, that's what matters a lot in this stuff. And it shows. Like when I say like you look at a thing, you pick it up, you hold it, you touch it, you listen to it. It matters. It's like it's not just the tuning. It's everything all encompassing, and all the stuff behind it is what factors as well, right? Like that's how you know you have a great product on it, or like something you can. I want to keep these. Like I don't have any desire to sell these. You know what I mean? Like I think I would say like the like heirloom things, right? Like these are things that I would want to pass to my daughter, or like like because that's the kind of thing that you'd want. That's the passion behind it to me. Anyways, that's what I envision. Sorry, I'm rambling.
Just got to make sure she becomes an audiophile as soon as possible.
Oh yeah,
I've seen the picture.
Oh, she loves to sing. She's all about singing and music. Yeah, so I'm hoping it sticks.
I think the thing that helps us at least admit that to the people that use our headphones is that, we don't have a board of directors. I've refused anyone who's ever come and offered any kind of investor money or anything like that. And it's just about, for me, it's just about having the control of the business, nowhere else for the money to go except for right back into the business, which has allowed me to buy, the Brule and Care stuff and expand the workshop, buy the equipment we need, just, making sure that my hobby of headphones gets all the anything we make financially just goes right back into the business, which is, I think, why we've been able to do what we've been able to do. I mean, certainly why I was able to come out with the Caldera. If I had to pay off investors or, somehow we were, I don't know, on like the penny stock trading or anything, any of that
You're
financial
indebted to somebody else or withholden to somebody else.
Anything that business stuff comes with, there's no way I would have been able to put the money right to things like the Caldera and waste money on things like all the failed experiments that it took to get to
money. That's experience.
It's experience. Money, but
I know. I get it.
If I had an investor who I was like, hey, I want to go spend $100,000 just screwing around with planar drivers because I think it'd be fun to have a planar headphone in my collection, they'd be like, no, that's a bad idea.
They stifle creativity. They stifle they stomp down that experimenting, the experience and growing. Because that's what it is, right? Failure is, I was talking about this the other day. Failure is not the word failure. Failure is learning and growing. Because honestly, without failure, you're not learning, you're not growing, you're not doing anything, right? Like, in my opinion, like, I think with the hard times or with things that come down the road of failure, I think failure is a good thing. I don't know. That's what I'm trying to say, basically. It's because without it, you don't grow, you don't learn, you don't expand, you don't try to move past that and be better or get it right, I don't know. That's the way I look at it anyways. And I think that's what's cool about stuff like that. Like, without doing that, and if you can't do that, and if you're not allowed that, if you're not allowed to fail, you're not allowed to grow, is my way I look at it, I guess.
Things that have happened in Zach's R&D, though, is like, he may develop an ear pad that he thinks will work great with, let's say, the Otor, right? He's like, let me get 10 of these made. I think it's going to be, the thing. And it comes in, he listens to it, and it's not the thing. But it stays cataloged. And then, 2 years down the line, when he's, making the Atrium, let's say, those ideas are still valid. It may have been failed for one application, but it can transfer to something different if you kind of, you get to understand that, like, you didn't like chocolate syrup on spinach, but oh wait, now I have ice cream that might be good because it had like this flavor profile, like that's sort of what happens.
That's experimenting. That's the, without that experience in experimenting, you wouldn't know to expand and push and pull and where to, I don't know, push against things, right? Like, that's the whole part of the fun, I would say, is like finding where you can push the barriers, push the boundaries, and how do you break past those, or how do you push to the next thing? And that's fun. Like, why would you, like, I don't know. What do you, like, that's how I look at it anyways when it comes to experimenting and, like, I don't know, I guess failing at.
Someone was just asking what I'm looking forward to this year, and it kind of, that discussion reminds me of the Etymotic thing I was just talking about, where Etymotic was a founder-owned business. Anyone who started their own business has very succinct ideas about what they want to do, especially if they're successful. And I know the Etymotic founder was like, single driver, flat, that's all we make, that's all we're ever going to do, that's going to be, what Etymotic is. And I know he retired and went on to do other things, and now Etymotic is a slightly different entity. And the guys running it are doing a great job, but they have the Evo that's out now, which is a 3-driver IEM, and I know they're working on other stuff that never would have been worked on in that old company. And so I guess it's just all I'm saying along the lines of, I've heard those, and I think they're just like kind of redefine what the Etymotic sound is, and are really, really good. And it's just, you can't settle on one thing and say this is the only thing. You have to be open to those new things.
Yes, that. I think I just used it. Like, you can never, like, don't, I guess, put all your eggs in one basket, right? Like, you got to be able to expand and play and find other things that you can, I don't know, build on and grow. And
I try to remind myself not to get caught on one thing, but I have to constantly check myself and be like, are you being biased because of, your experience? Probably
everyone's biased. I don't think bias is as bad of a word as everyone makes it out to be, because we all have biases. Like, my bias towards ZMF, my bias towards, like, I think that's what makes it unique in you and what other people can gravitate to, right? Like,
it's the self-awareness of the bias.
Yes,
is important.
That is true. 100% that. The people that aren't aware of their biases when it gets dangerous and problematic, and yeah.
That's for me, the whole thing is just being like, hey, I am who I am, and that makes me bias, is
Yes.
That's that makes me trust someone when they say they're biased. I'm like, I trust you now because you're aware.
Yeah, you like to self-reflect enough to go, yep, I'm biased on that, yep, and then be able to voice it in a way that makes sense. Yeah, it's I don't know. I was trying to explain that to my 6-year-old, which is very difficult. So I tried to term it in the ways of like, well, in the learning sense, touching a hot stove, that's hot. Well, now I'm biased against that. This is not accurate. I'm just trying to and like now you're biased against a hot stove. It hurts you, so now you don't like it. Like, I mean, there could be that. That's a learned behavior. That's a bias. It's like there's all sorts of things, and then I don't know. But sorry, I digress. I'm going down a different path that doesn't necessarily be. Let's get back to some more. Actually, I have a question for both of you. You said back to another lighter topic, hobbies, that kind of stuff. What do you guys do outside of like the hobbies? What about for fun? Do you guys play any like board games or card games or anything like that? Do you guys get together with your friends and do?
Well, we played a rousing game of Scrabble over Christmas break with Zach's family. Meaner was my word that got a lot of points. I was really proud of that. Sometimes we play a little, what's it called? Gin rummy.
Gin rummy. Okay.
My mom is still in here, but
Probably
learned that as a child. Gin rummy, good game.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so a lot of our staff is super into D&D. Zach and I have never played. You've never played.
I have a bunch of buddies that keep trying to get me to play. My one buddy goes every Wednesday, and he's like, "You need to come with me, man. I just started," and I'm like, "I want to."
Yeah, it sounds super cool.
Yeah.
Like, Joe, one of our guys, is a DM, and so like they're playing. I'm like, "Well, what happened this week?" And he's like, "Oh, well, they did this, this, and this, and like this is where it ended." And it's kind of interesting. You're like, well, how are they gonna
get out of this? What's gonna happen next?
So D&D sounds really cool. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I do a lot of crossword puzzles by myself. Those are kind of my
since the pandemic started, we have been so like enmeshed in staying away from people that like like we just started going to the grocery store probably like the middle of 2022. Yeah. Like we were like, okay, we're just gonna focus on the business, not get COVID. And of course we both got COVID, like everyone has and have been through all that. But it's it's the kind of thing where it's just like we've been so enmeshed with running the business that we're just trying to be like, yeah, it'd be nice to have friends again. Like
who are we now?
Yeah, who are we now? Yeah, like what are we?
I mean, I think everyone's going through that a little bit. Like it was sort of like a collective trauma where you're just like, okay,
now what?
Where are we at? Been 3 years of weirdness. Like, who am I now?
Yeah, so. I agree. Eleanor, I was actually gonna ask. I was gonna say when you were talking about that, Bevin. There was this thing I was thinking about doing, like with Zoom. You can do it with Zoom. We should get a bunch of other like cool creators or like just a group of people that we can all get along with, and we should do a Zoom D&D session and start learning and get someone that knows what they're doing, of course, because I have no idea. Get all the sheets and we can all get our characters and all of our. We should do like Penny Arcade does that, I think, or there's a couple groups that do like where they do the on over Zoom or whatever. So just have just all the different characters, yeah. Oh, Jay says he's a DM. He'll do the voices and everything. There we go.
Perfect.
I hear you gotta have a good DM to have a good
matter.
Voices, because if not,
the voices, the all the tricks up your sleeve.
Yeah.
I like that skit, the Key and Peele skit where they're playing.
Oh, yeah. And then go into the bar and find the wenches.
Yeah.
I haven't played D&D since I was in years, but I should get back into it.
A lot of our stuff too is into like Magic the Gathering.
I have a whole box full of Magic the Gathering.
Apparently some of those cards are
worth some money. Yeah. Yeah, I should pull them out. I have like over a couple $1,000s worth of Magic the Gathering cards. Like we had a couple of my buddies like back in the day got way into it. It was random too. We're like, because one of those things where we're like, oh, we never like. One of my buddies was like, I always wanted to play it, but I was always too afraid to be like cornered in, like get picked on or like whatever in high school or whatever it was. And I was like, dude, the art looks cool, the game looks fun. Let's go buy some cards and have a party and play Magic the Gathering. We did, and we had this other dude who was way into it. He drove like he's like, you're playing Magic? And he drove 2 hours to get to our place and taught us all how to play and then left because he had to go home. And so we spent like all night long playing Magic that, and then after that we were all hooked and we went stupid and bought a bunch of cards. But yeah, it's crazy. I think that's the other thing that's kind of interesting, like all the hobbies tie together to some way, right? Or like, so, you know what I mean? If you're into one hobby, it's more like, I mean, Sleepy, he could talk about this. Like I have this, the pins. This is a retro pin dealio, and it's like a cool thing, like the you know, like the fountain pins and that kind of stuff. Sorry, I'm like, and it's just like, you know, like the fountain pins, and it's not working, but like it's not cool. Yeah, like, or I have like I have within reach. I have like a bazillion different little. I have a collection of tops, like spinning tops. Like, you know,
I bought my dad one of those forever spinning tops for Christmas. He really enjoyed that spin that he had.
It's addicting. It's this like I have this one's like it's the shape of a hop, and it's got like the hops like acorn looking thing, and it's kind of harder to spin, but it's it's made out of cool metal, and you spin. I have this glass thing that I spin it on and see how long I can get it, and I don't know. I have my photography, like it's all ties together, I think, to some level, right?
Someone or Skeeb, I think, asked when the new clothing line is going to drop.
Oh, I don't know.
We're kind of clothing lined out right now. We're in a weird running out of space kind of thing. We're running out of
space. We're 11 people in a space that we bought when we were like 6 people, or 1 bathroom for 11 people. Like
that gets awkward.
To be able to bring new fun things to the world.
Our workshop's great. It's great. It's just
I love it.
Not a huge space.
We now need a bigger space.
So the clothing line was one thing that took up a whole wall. And we still have some stuff, but before we release new stuff, we're probably gonna try to get more space. But Bevin, she's always got some great design ideas. She's got to come up with something good. I know, it might not be as good as Do You Even Mod Bro? I don't think you can beat
that. Was my first t-shirt.
You should get that ZMF. Do You Even Mod Bro? It could be a sticker with the T50. Yeah.
I made that shirt like back in 2017.
What was the other one?
And then the other one was more of a mids guy. It's like Poindexter dude.
Oh, I'm more of a mids guy.
That's awesome. I love that.
It didn't really take off. So
yeah, Do You Even Mod Bro? I thought that was going to be a viral sensation T-shirt, but
it featured line
toilet paper
roll.
That's right, because the TP mod. Yeah.
So
that's legit. I don't know why. Yeah, I'd buy that. I'd buy that for $1. No.
Look at your headphones.
No, I like making ZMF wares, so
I always joke with my buddies, and it's one of my things where I joke about like that'd be a funny shirt, or that'd be a funny. Usually they're not the nicest things, but they're funny. Anyway,
it's a meme.
It's a meme. It's a meme. Memes aren't always the nicest thing. So it's I don't know. It says the Venn diagram of headphone enthusiasts and people that like fantasy games has a big crossover. Probably that's probably fair. Call back to the introverts. Yeah, that's probably true. I mean, they are. Well, I don't know. I'd say D&D is a very social. Like that's extremely social. That's like distilled social. Like you're opening yourself up to some serious. Like you know what I mean? Because you have to play a character. You have to like show your cards a little bit more. Like. That's
but I think that
intimate. I think
the aspect of it where they're like very stringent sort of rules, like what I've been told, and why I think I would be annoying to a lot of people in these scenarios is that if we were playing Magic, I'd just try and start a conversation. I'd be like, cool, you just threw a wizard. Did you hear this band? But like I think sometimes
Oh,
introverts, like their ability to sort of focus and hone in and be like, these are the rules, these are the parameters, this is what we're here to do. Stop chatting,
so no joke. Fun fact: I went to a Magic the Gathering tournament a couple of times randomly, just because my buddies wanted me to go, and we all went, and like, and it was fun. But it was that, like, it was like this very angry, like, I'm going to murder you, but you're sitting across from, like, and so it was very awkward because I walk in, I'm tattooed up, earrings, and I didn't fit the mold that was what, and so there was. It was disruptive, but once you sat down, they were very like, I'm going to murder this. Like, I'm assuming they thought I was a bro, or whatever at the time. This is like 10 years plus ago, So like they're like, they would just eviscerate whatever deck I'd put together because it was fun to me. Like I wasn't trying to like win, like I was just having fun playing. And but yeah, it was that. Like they full on head down. No, you can't play that. And they call the referee over, and they get all like super like, and I was like, oh, well, all right, my bad, sorry. Yeah,
I get that. I totally get like being focused on something. Sometimes I wish I could have those attributes. Like it's very, very cool.
I agree. I
But
definitely.
you got typecast as a bro. That's
Typecast.
I'll take it. I'll take it. I mean, I have bro. In fact, I always joke because I was into Magic Gathering. So for a while there, like all my handles for like gaming and like online stuff was Nerd Bro Ty. So I just leaned into it. Like, all right, I'll just be the Nerd Bro Ty. So one of the guys actually got me into Magic Gathering. The first time they met me, their first thought when they saw me, because I was, I was into lifting weights, and I was, that's just because that's what I was doing. Was the first thing was like, oh, who's this a-hole bro walking into the workplace? And like, and that's what they always joke about. They're like, oh yeah, and then here comes this a-hole bro, and then we get to know you, and you're just this big old nerd that you can totally nerd out with stuff and like be cool friends with. It's just like, hey, that's why you never don't judge a book by its cover. You never know.
absolutely. Things are not always as they seem.
And I
I don't
love
know.
that.
My
I love things aren't always as they seem. I think that's, I like disrupting that. I think that's fun.
yeah.
Any questions in here we didn't answer? I'm trying
Let's
to.
see. A ZMF Glencairn. Those are actually easy. You just get the Glencairn, you get the little laser etching on them.
Cool. That'd be
Yeah,
really
yeah.
cool. There's a lot of audio coffee crossover hobbyists.
Yes, coffee and audio is definitely a big deal. That is true. I can 100% agree to that. Because ZMF, actually, what would be dope is those old diner coffee mugs. Ones like really thick, like they're really like, and just have the ZMF logo. I would, that 100%. That would be amazing. Like those cheap, like the diner, but they're thick. Cause they're super thick, so they don't break. World's best coffee. 50
There you
cents. uh, and then coffee and crates. Oh, actually, yeah. Jay actually does a bunch of this stuff too. He does the coffee and crates. That's right. I mean, he talks about it all the time where they go to record shops and they go and listen to music and drink coffee with their buddies and listen to music. And then I was talking to my other buddy Dan. We're trying to do a thing where we go to a record shop and do like a mental health thing. We're trying to figure it out, but where it's donating to like mental health. But we want to do a thing where it's the record store owner is gonna. We would like to. The idea of it is that he would put together a bunch of like these grab bags of like singles on record, like vinyl, like the 45s and like the the smaller ones, and it would be like this, you'd bid on them and it'd be blind buys, so you don't know what's in it, but it's his choice kind of thing. And then it would all go to like mental health, like a donation thing, but just a fun get together. And he'd have like a DJ spin, or he'd be spinning records he liked from his record shop, and just make it a fun get together about I don't know. I think that'd be a fun. I think that's cool. I think that needs to happen more too. I think that's coming out of the COVID stuff, right? Like I think that's what we're trying to say. Is like, let's start getting people back to being okay with being around other people. Speaking of that, what are the thoughts on? We're actually an hour and a half in, so I don't want to hold you guys too long. But everyone ask questions and we'll get to them. But before that, I have one other question that's kind of a two-parter. is ZM Festivus coming back at any point? And then what about ZM Festivus Road Trip? I remember we talked about that a while ago.
ZM Festivus Road Trip has been what I've been pulling for, just because there is now a Can Jam Chicago and Expona. So a lot of times people are coming to Chicago maybe once, maybe twice for audio already. I would really like to do a ZM Festivus in Colorado because I really miss that RMAF is gone.
Yeah, I was really bummed about that too.
But like there are people that we would see every year because they're the Colorado crew and people that was central to fly in. I mean, it's really nice for the coasts, you know, it's central. And Colorado is pretty cool. So that's my vote.
I'd go to Colorado. I'd make that. That'd be cool shit.
There you go. That I'm back.
Well, I have a bunch of good friends in Colorado, which is like a bunch of my good buddies retired there actually recently. So it'd be cool. Yeah, and then you got Brent, and you got all those fellas too.
So, you could go on your ski trip and hopefully not do anything reckless.
Break some arms, break some legs. You can still listen to headphones.
You know, actually, the last time, so I was a big snowboarder, but I learned skiing first. And the last time the thing that made me stop skiing was I was doing moguls, and one of the moguls was off center, so I missed it because I was on a rhythm. You know how moguls, you do the rhythm, and so it was off rhythm. So I hit it and it bounced me up, and then I came down on top of another mogul and I did the splits and it tore my groin, and then I was like, never skiing again. I had to do the sled of shame and with the ski patrol. You know, you're in the sled and you're behind them. And then my dad was a snowboard instructor, and he was like, "See."
How long did that take to get over?
I was young, so it was probably like, I'd say that's about a month before I was back to doing, month and a half, probably before I was back to like relative normality. I'd say month and a half. It wasn't horrible. It was more of like I don't think it was like a minor tear. It wasn't anything crazy. It was more of like I basically went from normal to this too fast, and it basically, my muscles went, ah! Why'd you do that?
Squeamish just thinking about it.
But yeah, skis are fun.
They are really fun. They're really fun. One of the questions that I saw in the chat that I selfishly love to talk about and want to actually see in the chat is, I think Alex asked like what people are listening to. Throw what you're listening to in the chat, because I'm always looking for new music, and it's a really great.
I need to do
get
that more.
Files. Yeah.
So you know, I know people are gonna. This is an audiophile thing, so I'm gonna get a bunch of shame here, but and I know Spotify is not the best thing for like the artists and stuff, but I love Spotify for its discovery stuff, and like I'm ADHD like crazy when it comes to music, so I want to say that I'll just go through my latest top tracks that I've heard recently. Was Dirtwire. There's a Go-Go by Dirtwire. Was a one I really was enjoying. There's this one called The World of Birds. The Yellow Brick Road is the name of the track. And
actually, my notes
are Fruition. Stuck on. Actually, if you go to my Instagram, that's actually hilarious. So a lot of my pictures I post on Instagram, I'll actually tie to my latest track I've been listening to, or a track I've been listening to recently. So that's my latest thing I've been trying to do, is like tie my pictures to tracks and like try to like find a mood to them, I guess. And it doesn't necessarily mean that it's like what I'm, you know, it's just I look at the picture and go, oh, that, and I'll go through and just listen to music while I'm thinking of the picture or looking at the picture, and whatever like kind of rings at that point in time is what I'll throw on there as a soundtrack.
Some good
to the picture
recommendations in the chat too.
It's like choreography, like putting the
like gives you
yeah.
And I've really been digging that. I think it's really cool that that they started doing that. Holy smokes, there is some seriously good music going on here.
Knew it. I just knew it.
Love my Neil's from. Love my old classic rock. Yeah, bad week for classic rock.
Ooh, Dead Can Dance. Have you heard those guys? They have some, like, especially on like the Caldera or the Atrium with the 300Bs. Go throw on some Dead Can Dance. Holy smokes. They have like this crazy spatial. There's one that has like a didgeridoo that's like bananas.
Dead Can Dance. Dead Pin Dance. All right, it's in my Google search.
That one's really fun. They do some really, it's really like trippy stuff too. Like they do some pretty cool stuff. Jazz is Dead. Actually, you know who listens to a lot of really good records all the time is Jay. Jay's all he's on, and he posted on his Instagram. He's always on some good music. Fantastic. He's big jazz.
The dudes who listen to vinyl, they're into music in a way that can only be into music when it's a palpable thing that you can.
So, and this is something I have ADHD. Like I've been saying it too much, and it's probably whatever. But ADHD for me is like it's real. Like it's definitely a thing. But there's something that you focus on it with. Is like vinyl for me is like I know I'm dedicating. Like that's when I'm like I am listening to this album. I am listening to this musician. I'm listening to this artist, and that's very what's the word for it? It's like this. It's a very like engrossed moment. You know what I mean? Like it's very like you just start like you're dedicating time to that.
It's nice to know that hey, I have this palpable thing that I can touch that I'm going to dedicate something to. Because when you're on your phone or you're trying to pick a movie on Netflix or whatever, all that stuff, it's kind of in the ether. It's harder to.
And it is. It actually triggers more ADHD, right? It makes you want to be like, oh, I don't want next.
Oh, I hadn't thought about that of like singles on, Tidal or Spotify being sort of akin to like Netflix with like all these sort of jumbled genres and comedy.
Yeah, we need the 5 and dime store where you can go rent that tape, and that's the only tape you have.
and you listen to it until it's almost run out.
Yeah.
Oh man.
You have no other movie choices except you rented that tape for you rented
well, it's like
got mail, and now you're done.
Reminds me of like the 90s of growing up and like listening to I remember getting Sublime. Like I remember getting a couple of Sublime CDs and listening to them so much that I could literally, even now you throw on a Sublime song, I could probably sing along. Because you listen to them so much over and over and over again, like that kind of thing.
R.I.P. David Crosby. When he passed, I was like, you know what? I need to go back and listen to what's the Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young record where they're all sitting on the porch and it's got like Marrakesh Express. What is it? Guinevere. Like, what is that album called? Anyways, CSNY. I went back and listened to the album. Really great.
All right. Memories too. Like that's the debut.
That's the debut.
Self-titled? The self-titled one.
Oh, what a gem.
Yeah. Well, it's like I think there's that too, right? Have you ever listened to like a track like comes up later, like, oh, I remember this growing up, and then you go back, and the next thing you know, you're just listening to their whole discography of like, or like the whole album over and over again. So my mom used to listen to there was this weird period of time. I remember I was in 3rd grade, 4th grade. It was Steve Miller Band. And it was the best of Steve Miller Band. I remember I had the CD. It was the best. It wasn't my CD. It was my mom's CD. It was the best of Steve. I remember listening to that, and I could still go back and like and now like all these memories and all this like just like you could just like going fishing with my buddies, going jumping on a bike, fishing pole on the back, and heading out to the lake and going fishing. And I have this Steve Miller Band, the Joker, playing in my head, or like which is as a 3rd, 4th grader, it's like why would you? You had no idea what the heck they were talking about. Yeah. Yeah, you're singing like, I'm a joker, and you're like, you have no idea what the heck that means.
From your teachers, Tyler. No, it's kind of cool because I think people in our sort of collective age range, like the music our parents listened to was so great. And like, I remember being 10 and being like, can you just put the radio on 96.5 so I can listen to Ace of Base? And just being like, turn off Fleetwood Mac. Like, why would I want to listen to that, Mom? And then like I hit adolescence and I was like, okay. Like I get it now,
Other one, Paul Simon. My mom was huge, and my grandma too. She like the Paul Simon Graceland. That album specifically was like amazing. And I remember like even my grandma, she was way into gold. Like that was her thing. And she was a kind of like that classy lady kind of look of like the Rat Pack era, right? Like the 50s classy lady, right? And so she loved diamonds on the soles of her shoes. And that was her jam. So I thought that was fun stuff. Anyways, yeah. Music, I think that's the other thing too. Like, right, getting back to like the headphone and the audio thing, when we talked about before, like all the craziness of like the people being crazy about the measurements and crazy about the blah 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 blah. And it's like, well, how about we just get back to listening to the music and enjoying what we have in the way it's like these to me are bringing that much more joy to me listening to music. That's how I view them, right? Like at the end of the day, like my chain is what makes me enjoy music more, right?
Yeah, and the funny thing about all those streaming services is that I mean I subscribe to all of them just because but the co-buzzes and the titles are less good at being able to recommend music to you, and the Spotify's and the Apple Musics I've found are the best at like music discovery as far as algorithm stuff. So it's kind of like a weird conundrum between music discovery and just having the MQA files or the whatever they are. So it is interesting like that. And I have Rune too that brings it all together.
I agree. Like there is a part of that too, right? Where you get lost in the head-fi too much, right? Like or the audio file. That's not bit perfect, so therefore it can't be. And it's like, well, no, I'm enjoying the music. Like, so I had this discussion with somebody, and they're like, "Oh, what's the best IEMs you could possibly have?" I'm like, AirPods Pro, because they go everywhere with me, and I listen to music the most on them because they go everywhere with me, and I can put them in anywhere, and I can listen to music because I can listen to music like music. It's not, like I don't know.
So let's do a 10-minute warning of questions and stuff just to try to keep this around 2 hours.
Yeah. Okay, 10 minutes.
Of anyone, but I want this to be watchable back.
And that's why I'm recording it too. So I'm gonna try and go back and edit chunks of the.
Oh, really? You're gonna re-watch this?
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's fun.
It's your time.
I'm trying to do like cooler like bits of things like this. I want to try and because it's cool. Then it could be more digestible to people, and I could put them in.
All right, well, let's keep going for 6 hours then. I mean, who needs...
I like hanging out with you, Tyler, so we could just talking.
Yeah, you guys keep talking. I'm at 2 hours. I'm gonna peace.
No, yeah. I think I have to put the daughter to bed and do the bath, and it's like, eventually we'd all just be blurry, blah, 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 and laughing. No one knows what they're saying, but we're all having a good time. So let's do 10 minutes, and we'll focus on chat. Here we go. Oh, I was going to say the Dead South. That's another great band. I don't know if you've heard them. They are fantastic.
Yeah,
I agree.
They're pretty good. They have a really cool like minor key kind of
real simple
sound. Yeah, it's very cool. Yeah.
Let's see here. My mother had a great record collection in the 70s, which I hadn't scratched them up in my Oh, man, yeah, when my dad passed, man, that was rough, because I remember there was this point, and my stepmom and him had this huge record collection. My stepmom played bass, like stand-up, classical, and electric bass, so we all over the place, we travel all the time, and she's in a ton of different bands, orchestras, but that was one of my biggest things. As my brother and I were so, you're in a weird space when the parent passes or someone passes, and so we just were like, we don't want anything, we just want to get past this, and that was one of my regrets, is the record collection, because it was massive. Anyways,
he's asking about a DIY tour kit I've seen a couple times. It's not something I've thought of. I mean, I would never want to say never to anything. I mean, there's a chance I might do a version of the T50 kit where you can get a baffle and a dynamic driver, but I'd have to think on that. Maybe that's a good idea to do a version of the dynamic, T50 kit where you can put a dynamic driver in there instead of a planar. I probably won't do any kind of kit where you can make any headphone that looks just like a headphone we made in house where you can make out of house, just because the whole, did ZMF make this or did someone make it a kit that, you never want those kind of questions.
Surprise.
Our headphones being modular, we have enough problems that it is with people taking them apart and putting them together. So if we introduced a I can't. I can only imagine the next level of. Yeah.
Jay's pretty bad. So you know he did. He took one of your your hardwares, and you know the. I'm gonna sound mean.
I saw that. He
the,
put it on another headphone.
Yeah, and he said it made it exponentially better. But I mean, I've had.
It's work well.
Yeah.
Our headband is really comfy.
Yeah.
I'm confident in saying that. So
Honestly, one of the best. Agree. I'm trying to figure out. Actually, you know what I have? Speaking of Jude and JDS guys, I have their headphone, and I want to figure out a way to get your headband on their headphone.
headphone.
Because it's a shockingly good headphone. I need to pull it out and start playing with that one again. Anyways, sorry. 89 by Charlie Gabriel, recorded when he was 89. Another good recommendation.
Oh wow.
Actually, I love stuff like that. That's like the Johnny Cash, like his farewell album, you know, like with Hurt and that kind of stuff where he remade a bunch of tracks. And I always love that stuff. It's such a.
What genre of music is that? Charlie Gabriel?
Isn't he like a acoustic? Let me go to the.
A lot of those blues musicians who didn't get discovered until they were like in their 70s. There's just some amazing. What was that? I forget the guy's
jazz.
name.
He plays sax. It's like a jazz blues kind of guy. Jazz, yeah. Oh, actually, let me.
Some of the stuff that Dan Arbach is producing now. Sometimes I just go look on Rune of like what Dan Arbach's done lately. He's become such a good producer.
Like reading the history behind artists. I love that about Rune, like that part where you can read that.
You can really go deep and find out who's played on what albums and all that stuff.
So some of my other favorite albums are Morphine. Have you ever listened to Morphine?
Yeah. I mean,
yes. Honey White. What's the shark one? The sharks patrol these waters, and he has the big saxophone. It's like the band is a sax, a bass guitar, and a drum set. That's it. And they do some pretty cool music. And he has this really gravelly voice that's really good. Another one I found which was really good, that actually Jay he found it for me. I told him about it, but it was the Funk album. It's I got it on vinyl, and it's this Japanese album from the 70s, and it's like this jazz fusion funk, and it's so good. And it's let's see here. See if I can find it real quick. Jay, what was the name of that band? Why am I blanking? It's oh, it's getting horrible. Why can't I think? You know what it is? Brain goes dumb on this stuff. Actually, another thing I've been way into lately has been hip hop. I've been getting way back into like the underground hip hop stuff, or just hip hop in general.
Bevin introduced me to to Atmosphere.
Oh, Atmosphere's so good.
Yeah, that was big.
He's doing some interesting, weird
stuff.
Halloween themed albums or something.
Yeah, he's constantly making some cool random stuff all the time with rhyme sayers.
Every time he comes out an album, I'm like, what is this new thing?
Yeah. He's constantly the rhyme sayers guys in general are really cool. Aesop, I'm a huge fan of Aesop Rock. Not Aesopy, but the actual guy with the highest vocabulary of any rapper. He actually won like the most. He's got the crazy vocabulary.
His name's Aesop Rock, not ASAP Rocky.
Yeah, Aesop. He was way before, but he has like this huge vocabulary, and like and if you listen to what he says, it's really hard because he's rapping very fast, and his vocabulary is so big that he's tying all these words that you're just like, wait, I need to go look up what that word means. Like, but it's like he's fantastic too. And MF Doom, MF Doom's another good one.
Did he just pass away?
He did. Yeah.
There was this Idea and Abilities.
I love Idea and Abilities. Oh.
Their song "Even Shadows Have Shadows."
Yes.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So I saw them live with Atmosphere in the Showbox in Seattle back in 2004 with Idea and Abilities. So I just totally blew out the screen on accident. I clicked on the wrong thing, yeah, Bazooka Tooth. Yeah, Bazooka Tooth is one of those OG Aesop Rock tracks or albums. Not but Daylight and Nightlight from Aesop Rock are one of my all-time favorite tracks from him. Another good one. You know what else I've been really digging is who was it? There's Anderson .Paak. Jay and I did a thing on Anderson .Paak. He's always fun. He has some fun stuff. But yeah, there's so much good music. So
I just miss full bounce hip hop of the 90s. That's like so good.
Mm-hmm. Where they tell a story.
Yeah. But it was just like so like Puff Daddy and Mace and like Big Punisher.
Yes.
You know, like you were like having a good time.
I remember pissing my stepmom off with the Mace album, his first album, the Mace album, and it had so much bass. And I had these huge speakers. I don't remember where I got them from, but I had these huge speakers in my room, and my stepmom would be trying to practice her bass. And I was that, I'm just going to say, I was being a jerk little kid. And so I cranked the speakers up listening to Mace with the bass, and so and she would just be like trying to practice with a metronome, and she'd come in and be like, ah! And I'd be like, oh, sorry. And then as soon as she left, I'd be like, because I was being that turdy kid. But yeah, that's my memory of Mace. That album, I think it was his only album, right? He did the one album, right? Or did he do two?
He came back with an album after he had like gone and been a preacher. Yeah.
Crazy. Zach, what was your music genre of choice as a kid growing up?
I went through periods where I went from Nirvana and then Silverchair and then Jimi Hendrix, and then was really into like vintage blues and Blind Willie Johnson, like really old, like because it was kind of it kind of went through the sides of what I was playing on guitar and stuff. And then when I picked up clawhammer or banjo in college or end of college, I just went on a huge old time and bluegrass thing. So
Taj Mahal,
and that's honestly a lot of my Taj Mahal and Gillian Welch, the Ducks, Jimi Hendrix, a lot of weird Black Keys. Black Keys is one of those bands that I've liked them since Thick Freakness, and I was like, back when I discovered them, I was like, oh, I'm into this cool thing nobody else knows about, and then they became like, this giant band, and I'm like, well, I guess I still like them.
That was, yeah.
So that's kind of been my musical journey, and actually somebody on Super Best Audio Friends was like asking the other day what albums, if you had to like which ones that that I think I had like Ben Harper, Fight for Your Mind in there, which is for whatever reason that album's I've always thought that was a great album.
You know what? Speaking of like the albums, so here's another fun thing. Like, has there ever been a band like we just kind of nailed on a band that you liked way before anybody else really was like mainstream, or they went mainstream, right? And then you say, oh yeah, I used to love this band, and people are like, ugh. What a like pop band. Mine is Sugar Ray. Like Sugar Ray before they became Sugar Ray, like when they were punk, like hardcore punk was awesome. And then they went from punk to like pop. Yeah. And like
No Doubts went from ska
yeah. Like No Doubt's another good one, yeah. Like
so they went from like hardcore underground music to just like
straight pop.
Yeah, I mean like their single was
There's
like
a halo hanging.
Yeah.
From my girlfriend's books.
I mean, Offspring had a similar weird kind of hardcore, and then they had like
kind of meme
that kind of meme. I don't know if it would be a meme, but
even Blink 182 was that way too. Like they were super punk, and then also they went pop punk, or they started the pop punk, right? Weren't they one of the ones that started the pop punk, or one of them?
Some record executive got to them and messed them up.
That Offspring that came out where it had like the X-ray of a spine on it. It was like right, and it had like you got to keep them separated.
Yeah, and it just went.
I was that. Yeah.
I still give Bevin shit about this one where we went to. I was like a huge fan of the Steel Drivers, like right when they came out in 2006, and we saw the Steel Drivers when
they were tiny.
What's his name?
Chris Stapleton.
When Chris Stapleton was lead singer for the first couple of years, and he was probably in his 20s or something at that point.
Sounds-
And I said to Bevin, I was like, this guy's voice is incredible. I cannot believe what I'm hearing right now. He's going places. And Bevin was like, no, not for me. I don't think he's that great. She was like, I'm not really into it. And I'm like, you have to be kidding me. This guy is the most incredible country bluegrass voice I've ever heard. We were sitting like 10 feet from him.
Yeah.
And then when he made it, I was like, I told you so. This guy's the
Grammy.
Yeah. But it's kind of funny. Like, I actually like his work with the Steel Drivers just because I'm all into old time music more than I like his pop country stuff. But I just like to give Bevin a hard time about that one.
I missed.
Sometimes happens the best of us. Happens the best of us. I think Jay, you're right. I think the Ramones were probably the beginning of the like that, not hard punk, but like I wouldn't really call Ramones pop punk, but they're more of that, I guess, soft punk. Is that softcore punk or what's that? What do they call that? I don't know.
I don't know what I would call that.
The rad. I think rad, but not heavy. Okay, that's good. Rad punk instead of heavy punk. There you go.
Yeah, like you're wearing Vans, but you don't have any spikes on you.
Yeah, no spikes, but you're rocking the patches. You're watching the patches and the.
All right, so I think we should wrap it up. We're right at about 2 hours.
It's hard to do so with you guys.
Interesting question. Yeah, we can talk. We could talk all night, but
music. I'm like, let's talk.
Yeah, Bevin's all about the jams.
Yeah. D'Angelo's Brown Sugar is fantastic. Owen. Maxwell. Oh, another good one. Sorry. Yes, but we'll just have to do another one instead of wait a whole year. We'll have to just do one sooner than that.
We can do another one around maybe when Atrium Closed is coming out or something, and talk about the more specific stuff of that headphone or something. Yeah. But it is. That's probably I think we have right now on the calendar sometime around mid-April. And just like the open version, we're going to do a cherry and an aged cherry version as the stock wood. And I have a very special, and I'm hoping it works out. I bought 4 extremely expensive boards of Italian quilted or olive wood. Ooh, and we're just cutting it we're just starting to cut it this week, and I'm praying that it works out because I spent so much money on the boards, but that will be the first limited edition for the Atrium Closed. So cherry, aged cherry, and then the olive will be the first kind of run. It's kind of akin to the Kingwood, where I have some wood that I bought a long time ago. It's been sitting around. I didn't want to ruin it by making it into with a headphone with a grill in it, because I was like, I can't spend all this money on like quilted wood and then cut the quilted wood away.
Quilt out, yeah. Well, go ahead, Bevin.
Start leaving. Thank you guys for coming to chat and showing up on the live, because I see all the news. I know who everyone is, not in a creepy way, but it's really good to see you guys. Hope we'll see some of you in New York.
Yeah, we'll be at all the Can Jams this year. I don't know why my camera went off. We'll be at all the Can Jams this year, including London. We're going to be going even to Europe for Munich. I'm not sure we'll be at Singapore, unfortunately, but represented by Zeppelin and company there. But all the U.S. ones, you might even try to make some Head-Fi meets this year. So we'll try to be around, be available, and as always, we've got a great staff to email any headphone questions, and
definitely.
Thank you.
Yeah. That's what it's here for, man. Talking to these lovely people. It's the same thing, man. I love seeing all the cool people you see all the time, you interact with. It's always fun. Thank you. One last thing. Zach, I sent Bevin this the long time ago, but every time you talk about your wood, it's that GIF that's like the guys, it's the wood, it's like the dating site, but it's like the wood, and it's the guy swiping right or left for wood, like the different wood pieces. And it's like, ooh.
Nice Chatoyans.
And on that, I'll let everybody have their evening back.
Nick at JDS, who does runs the machine shop down there, is always he's like he's like, what the hell is showing up on a pallet today? God damn it, Zach. Like, I'll be like, I can't help myself.
I swiped right. I can't tell you. Yeah, Nick and Jude, man, that'd be another cool two dudes to have on one of these and chat and just have a cool round table on.
I'll try to get them. We should have them on. It's almost, they're so against just like stuff like this that it would be hilarious to have them on. So I'll try to make that happen. Like against it, they're just so like, why do I need to be on a,
because they're fun to chat. I mean, I literally have very fond memories of chatting with both those guys at ZM Festivals. Like enough. I mean, I'm still talking about it today, for crying out loud. Like
there's such a big part of what we do, because like, we machine all the wood in house, and like, I can't tell you how much effort they put into making our headphones what they are. I mean, it's insane to me. Yeah. And the amount of money we've invested in having a full wood shop down there. I mean, maybe I'll go down there and we'll do live chat from their place. That would be really cool.
That's what we'll have to do.
Really cool.
Yeah.
They'll go with a theme too. If we do like the Hot Ones thing that we had talked about a long time ago, like they would be down with that.
We should do that. Make it a fun thing.
Get to eat
there you go.
Maybe D&D. We could do a D&D game. Yes, let's do that. Okay. I think on that, let's call it a night. And thank you so much for joining with us. And I look forward to all the next endeavors with you guys. It's fantastic. You guys are awesome. And yeah, let's keep it going. And cheers, everyone in the chat. Thanks for joining and not watching football.
Yeah, thank you, Tyler.
Thank you.
Go Jets.
Go Jets. Wait, what's a weird? Go Bears. All right, and on that, everyone, thank you so much, and we'll have a great evening, and we'll see you all in the next one. Cheers.
Yeah.
All done.